Hello, good morning. It's Tracy Daviero with you here from Your VA Mentor and Kava and Gava. I am happy to come to you today. I have a super busy day today. It's one of those things where we have events going on and lots of meetings and stuff coming up that I'll talk to you about in subsequent lives. But for now, I want to talk about setting your rates. This is a topic, another topic. I feel like I say that every time, right? That this is a topic that comes up often. But when I go to refer people to videos that I've got about setting rates, I don't have a lot of them. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of a series of videos for you in terms of talking about money, talking about rates, talking about that kind of thing. So that they are there and available for you. There are over 50 videos on this channel now, as you know, on my YouTube channel and in this group. And yeah, I'm super excited to continue bringing you weekly content. So would love to hear what you want to learn about, and I can do a video around it for you. So today, setting rates. These topics come to me as a result of discussions that I see going on, or discussions that I take part in, people that I talk to, that type of thing. And in the past week, there was a conversation going around about setting rates and how to figure out what it is that you need. Because here's the thing, when you are setting your rates, it is almost instinctive for, I don't know if it's every business owner, but I certainly know that it is for VAs, to go far too low, because you think in your mind what you can sell to somebody, right? I know I did. Absolutely, I did. I was making $16 an hour at my job when this was 20 years ago. And that's what I was making at my job. So when I started my business, I thought, oh, I'll just add a couple of extra bucks because I have now overhead to pay because I'm a business owner. I didn't calculate the overhead, nothing. I just went, an extra $2 and I could sell my services for $18 an hour. I figured that was a good rate. And but I never really put much thought into it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know why I should do it. And so that's really what I want to talk to you about today, is not picking a number out of thin air, because it's just not, it's really just not going to serve you well for a number of reasons. First of all, it's going to be challenging to sell something that you haven't really put a lot of effort into analyzing, right? So you need to know what your billable rate should be. And I call it a billable rate. Some people call it an hourly rate. That's totally fine too. But for me, it's billable. It's very, very important. It's not about the hour. It's about the money that you're attaching to the work that you're doing for the client. So for me, it's pretty important to refer to it as a billable rate. And already you're sort of elevating yourself in terms of being a business owner, as opposed to just saying, this is how much I charge per hour, right? So billable rate, you need to be really clear on what that is. And what was I saying? Oh gosh, now I'm all confused already. So it helps you to set that. What was I saying? Oh my goodness. Anyway, the reasons that it's important to put some thought into your rates. Of course, once you have that and you've done some analysis around that, then it's easier to make decisions around it. It's easier to fix a value to it. It's easier to get your confidence behind it, because you know that it's not kind of a number that you picked out of thin air. It's actually something that you've looked at and said, okay, this is what we need to bring in, and this is why. So I'm going to talk about that right now. Here's how you calculate your rates. And I have a rate calculator for you. I'll put the link in the comments, and so you can go and pick that up and work with it and play with it and figure out what it is that you need to charge for your business. But you need to start with how much money you need to bring into your business. Typically, people think of that in terms of an annual salary, right? Because when we're coming from the job mentality, that's what we're thinking. I need to make this much money per year. For me, it was always easier to know how much money I needed to bring into my household every single month. So I need to contribute this amount of money, right? And so for me, it's easier to say that's where you need to start. So if that's the money that you need, start with that. If that's that, for me, when I started out, it was $600. That's what I needed to bring in. For you, 20 years later, it's probably a little bit more than that. Say it's $2,000, if that's what you need to bring in, or 1,000 or 5,000, whatever it is. You start with that number that you need to bring in to pay your bills, because that's the way we're built, right? Is we have to have a certain amount of money in the bank to cover everything. Then the next step is to think about how much you can work or how much you're willing to work. Now, you have to be reasonable in terms of this because, you don't want to say that you can work 50 hours a week. You don't want to say that you want to work 20 hours a week. And I'll talk about that after we talk about this. But typically, 35 hours, right? A full-time job is 37 and a half hours plus your breaks, blah, blah, blah. Typically, I would say billable 35 hours per week is probably fairly standard. That's to me a very full-time VA business. You have to add on your expenses, taxes at the very least, but you're also going to have other things that are going to, you're going to have to pay for your business. There's nothing that really pains me more. I don't know if it's paining me, but it stops me every time, and I'm like, so it's one of those things that VAs don't realize the expenses that they're going to incur in their business, from the little things like a scheduling software or QuickBooks or something like that, to the larger things, obviously, like taxes, but also things like taking credit cards online and merchant fees and all these kinds of things. There's all kinds of things that you have to incorporate into your business in terms of expenses, and all you have to do is adjust your billable rate to cover those things. It's not a stressful thing. If you need to earn $1,000 a month and you add on approximately 30% for that, for your expenses, then you just divide that by the number of hours that you're going to work every week. And so it's easier to do it in that process than to pick a number that you feel is okay. It's always too low. Anything you think is always too low. And then try to pay your bills from something that is too low. Okay, it's really important to run your business from a profit standpoint and make sure that you're bringing in enough money to cover all of those things. So you need to do that. How much you need to bring in, how much you can work, how many hours a week you can work, and obviously multiply that by 4 for your month. Add on 30% for expenses that will come up. Now, yes, you have deductibles, and you have things that you can take off of your business as expenses and that kind of thing. But to cover everything, add at least 30%. And then divide that number, so how much you need to bring in plus 30%, divided by the hours that you can work in a month, and that's going to be your billable rate. Okay? Now, here's where I'm talking about being reasonable. You cannot expect to earn a $50,000 salary by working 10 or 12 hours a week. You're going to, and now, not to say that you can't. Some people have very high level skills and they're able to charge a really high billable rate. But when you're starting out, you have to consider it from the perspective that if you're replacing a full-time salary, you need to work full-time hours. And understandable that a lot of people want to work around their family and that kind of thing. You really do need to add what it is, how many hours you can work per week, and you need to dedicate yourself to be doing that, because the billable time is not the only time that you'll spend in your business. Typically, 1 day a week, and I say that very open-mindedly, 1 day a week technically is what you'll need for your admin. So admin is, finding clients, billing clients, doing marketing to find clients, networking, that kind of thing. Now, I'm not suggesting that you take a day off every month or every week and do that, but typically that's how much. If you are working full-time and you're billing 30 hours a week, you're probably going to put in another 10 doing other things that are not billable. And so in order to maintain and build your business correctly. So you need to understand that as well. So you can't just say, I'm going to work 40 hours a week, because that then means you're probably going to work at least 50. Okay. So you have to think of it in that term, in that respect. A full-time wage annually in any other job is going to mean that you probably have to work full-time hours. And so I was talking with a client not too long ago, with a VA not too long ago, who was just starting out, didn't have a lot of experience, and decided that she needed to charge $45 an hour. And that's fine, no problem, you can charge that, but you have to be able to back it up, okay? So you need to make sure that the services you're offering and the expertise you're bringing to your clients matches the rates that you're charging. You are more than welcome to charge anybody anything you want. It's your business and you're the one who sets those rates. But it's really important to understand that you may have a bigger uphill battle trying to sell a $45 general admin, not very much experienced service to somebody than you would if you started at something like $25 or $27 an hour. And you don't have to go up by $5 increments, by the way. I don't know why everybody thinks this. You don't have to go from 10 to 20 hours. You can offer somebody 12 hours or 7 hours or 8 hours. If you offer somebody 8 hours of service every month, that's 2 hours a week. You don't have to wait and try and cram it all into 5. You don't have to try and space it out into 10. You can charge them for 8 hours a month if that's what they use. So it's really important. And I don't want to get into talking about packages or retainers or anything like that today. I just want to give you the really simple detail of setting your rates. Figure out how much you need to bring in, add 30% to that to make sure that you're covering all of those expenses that you're going to have to pay for, so you don't have to worry about them. And you still obviously have to monitor what you're spending, but you do need to make sure that you're accounting for it right in the beginning. And then divide that by how many hours you can work in a week, times 4 for the month, or divide it by how many days of the month. And that's going to be what your billable rate needs to be in order to earn the money that you need to make. Okay, so that's quickly setting rates. Like I said, I have a rate calculator that it will help you with a variety of things, actually, in looking at working a part-time job or doing some subcontracting work. It will show you how many clients you'll need to work with in order to make the money. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in the other pieces of this series. But for right now, I'll pop that link in for the rate calculator in the comment box here, and I'll put it with the YouTube video as well in the comments below. So I hope that's helpful for you. I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. Bye.